Honorable Makilap, that yes, it's true there was that incident, and I want to tie that to the other supplementary question raised by the member for Elgeyo Marakwet, the women rep, because they are related. There was an incident at Iten Hospital. The suspect involved, the person involved is a suspected bandit because he had bullet wounds and he could not explain where he was shot, and he just came to look for treatment. And we believe also that the people who came to rescue him were criminals because they came through the fence of the hospital. So they just came perhaps to rescue one of their own who was hurt and could not explain. The reason why that happened, notwithstanding the presence of a few police officers who were on site at that time, was the determination by the commanding officer on site that a shootout inside that facility would have caused fatalities on patients. And that gave a leeway for the rescue to succeed. I want to confirm to the House, through you, Mr. Speaker, that this person has been on police radar even before this attack. We are on him. We have some leads. We believe we shall arrest him as soon as possible. Honorable Speaker, the other issue was raised by the member for Turkana South on the capacity of our police agencies to maintain law and order. Honorable Speaker, I am persuaded that Kenya has enough police officers and enough wherewithal to handle all our challenges, including the challenges we are facing in northern Kenya. However, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that it is the position of this government that there is need to reform our national security organs to make sure that they respond better to our threats. That is why one of the first acts His Excellency the President undertook was to institute a presidential task force on reforming the National Police Service, which is an admission that there is need to reform around command, around efficiency, and around operational sophistication to make sure that the gaps that we continue to exist, to encounter in our law enforcement of our internal security are resolved. Very shortly, that task force will present its findings. The government has committed to implement all the recommendations without exception that will come from that task force, including changing the entire command of the National Police Service, the terms under which one becomes a commander of any level, tying command to success and results and deliverables, so that you don't become a county commander, a regional commander for life, and there are no results. People are still having insecurity in your area. Make it time-bound and tied to results. And even that reform, even as we wait for those recommendations, we are continually addressing command issues to ensure efficiency. Even this afternoon, I think the government and the National Police Service will be announcing changes in the top command of the National Police Service, starting with the appointment of the Deputy Inspector General of the Kenya Police Service, whose recruitment process is complete. And we have had a gap there for a long time because the immediate former Deputy Inspector General of Police was indisposed. But from this afternoon, that gap is going to be filled, and that will help the Inspector General perhaps to respond a little better and quicker, even as we wait for the other reforms. Honorable Speaker, I have one other last one, the one that was raised around the issue of what measures we are taking to make sure that the gaps we are having are sealed. One, the House may want to know that in 2014, the government started a police equipment modernization program, which ran for 3-4 years, but stopped after that. It was to the tune of 10 billion shillings a year. It really helped to improve the security at that time. But due to the collapse of that funding program, we have had issues around our ability to make Kenya safer. And what this administration has done is to revive the police equipment modernization program. And for the next 3 years, the government of Kenya will spend 20 billion shillings to ensure that we modernize our equipment. I am happy to return here if the House requires so in 3 months, because by that time, in 3 months from now, I expect to have revived the police air wing, which is completely dead. I intend to have acquired at least 3 gunship helicopters for the National Police Service so that we stop depending on the military, because they also have a national duty to perform. I intend to acquire some unmanned armored vehicles, UAVs or drones, and going forward, increasingly, we are going to yield the benefits of technology-driven, intelligence-driven operations. I am happy to come back and report progress on this after a few months on the request of the House. I think, Honorable Speaker, that is it. Maybe if I've left anything, I'll be reminded, but...
Only one, far as soft power engaging...
Soft power, I agree. Honorable Speaker, I agree. Thank you for the reminder, sir. We believe that the long-term solution of this problem is not just the hardware. But we have made a policy decision that before we can engage on long-term solutions, including issues of economic empowerment and social amenities, we must silence the guns first. We must do whatever it takes to make it rare that there is an attack, there is there's gunfire everywhere. And after that, now we can sit down and ask ourselves, why is it that this problem is recurring all the time? The ministry has developed a master plan in conjunction with other stakeholders, including the military, for infrastructural development of northern Kenya, which will begin from December this year, rebuilding schools, providing amenities, and also engaging communities for peace building, and that will now come with both disarmament, forceful and voluntary. But first, before we engage in any of these programs, Mr. Speaker, we are persuaded that we must silence the guns. As soon as we acquire the equipment we are looking at as the National Police Service, there will be a lot of change. But even as we speak, we have made a lot of changes in evacuating the gorges, the valleys, and the hideouts. And the attacks that are happening now are attacking in the criminals who may have used the window we had given for evacuation of civilians so that we comply with international law. That allowed a few, in our view, to escape and mingle with populations, and they are the ones giving us problems, which we are resolving through NPR and through the technology that we are acquiring in the next few weeks or months.